had options.
I know,
That was
hard. Well, one of the
Because I
parents
did
was
not
like,
recognize you. But
well, they
you're-
told me to, I had one of their backpacks.
We got 3
One of
minutes.
the friends' backpacks, I was
We
like,
got
nobody
3
will know
minutes.
that I'm not a kid.
And this is the last
Take the
one.
dog to work, to school
Wait.
today?
No, you know what's funny is the
There's still
dog
more after
won't
this, but
even
you're not
let
gonna
me
need them
walk
right
her.
now.
She will just sit down and refuse to go. She won't go anywhere. She won't go anywhere with a dog sitter either. And sometimes she won't go with my husband either. Like sometimes it's just me.
Dog sitter.
Sonia Curry.
You get some more?
Oh, I'm good night.
Never tasted.
But yeah, almost, they're gonna be a solid.
I want you to see my latest.
Yeah, well, your son is quite, and you just right out in front of
Sounds
the
right.
savings bank.
You like it? Oh, wow, yeah, and then.
Yeah, well, we all have young kids, very young kids.
So you don't work
Trying
by
to
the
cross
whole
the
time?
crosswalk. And the older one went across and the younger one was really like not sure if it was safe. And then he saw the other one on the other side and just he like started to like panic. We were right behind them. So we were like, "Would you like help them down the road?"
And stuff like that. It was just pure, so it just couldn't do that, because, so, I just got,
Flashers.
long distance ones that I could read. And now when I'm going to have,
So fast. Yeah, well, if there's somebody else backing out.
then I will have, I asked for distance vision. Because I'm fine with using readers.
I feel like it only takes like a little bit of warming up and my allergies start.
This
It's
is
like, I've got like
I like it.
itchy eyes.
You take very
Times.
Yeah, I take
I had to pay $2
every day, yeah.
See,
Can't hide money.
the 4 days. What's
Yeah.
Can't hide money.
That's usually, I add it in when it's the worst.
So anyway,
It
I
takes
have
2
one,
weeks to
it's
start working.
very nice.
The only day when guaranteed to
My cousin overdosed.
You see my new
Took so much.
glasses container?
She's stepping out, veterinary shirt on.
Only 81 years old.
I mean, I could just go to the thrift shop and get a glasses container. They have millions, but about $30.
You got the special chair.
Couple dozen today. But
That's much.
The chair with the
I
spontaneous,
could
the wheel
figure
just
out
like
how to could use
comes
it.
out.
Well, this service was like an upgrade. Probably happened 22, 29.
Well, we finally have money. It's in the budget.
Oh, John, I wonder if I could put it in while you're holding it up?
Breaking the furniture down there.
I've been able to got my age. And they have a hard time walking from the concrete wall. Yeah, it's because they're retired and chase that.
I had never used it.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, all present accounted for. Would you like to join us in the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Jeff, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is the point in the year where the board does its organizational meeting of the select board, and the manager obviously takes over the first item, which is the election of the chair. So at this point, I would ask for nomination for the chair.
Well, I've always felt we should have a rotating system, and I always thought what worked best was having the vice chair take over the chairman's position, and then somebody from the board pick up as vice chair. However, John tells me he has no interest in being the chairman. So somebody's gonna have to make a motion.
I nominate Charlie Morrison.
Okay.
do I hear a second?
Yeah,
John seconded.
John,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
yes.
Discussion.
Do you want it?
I'll do what the board wants me to do.
You're gonna have it. Call the question,
Well, just, any more discussion?
call the question.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I guess I would abstain, wouldn't I?
You can have to.
No, you should,
Aye.
definitely.
Charlie Morris is the new chairperson.
Thanks. So the next thing we do is election of vice chair. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate Mary Shernock.
Mary Shernock is nominated. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of nominating Mary Shernock as the vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passed. Select board subcommittee assignments. Okay, I didn't expect to be doing this. So, budget and finance, Dave, you still want to be on the budget and finance?
Yes, please.
Economic development? Does anybody else want to be on the budget and finance?
I don't have specific requests, but I know I was on the VOREC and, the Wall Street thing that ended, and so I know my name's on here, I think a little less than some, so if somebody wants to pass something off, I'm open to taking something that somebody would like to
So I'll
shift away
I'll
from.
pass off my labor agreement of bargaining, since the heavy lifting is done,
Okay.
it would be good to slide into that maybe.
Okay, well, when we
Alright,
get
so-
there, sorry, Charlie, I didn't mean
No,
to.
that's all right.
Disrupt the
So,
order.
hearing no interest in budget and finance, it will remain with Maxwell and Morris. Economic development is Morris and Petty. Does anybody else want to be on the economic development committee? Hearing none, it will remain the same. Highway planning and project oversight, board members Shernock and Stevens. Anybody want to be any interest in anybody else taking out of that position? I would like for someone to go down, back off of that, so somebody who lives on the back roads can be on that committee. But if you guys are into it, we'll keep it as it is.
I can back off.
John doesn't count quite as a back road.
No.
Almost.
Almost.
All right,
Well, what is the classification of a back road, Mr. Morris?
Dirt.
why don't you go up Stony Brook by the covered bridge right now?
Why should I? I already see photos.
Charlie, just remember that these, all meetings are public meetings of the subcommittees, so you can go and any member of
Oh,
the
I know.
back roads can go and be represented.
Yeah, but you can have only so many committees that you can attend.
You can attend as many,
All right, so highway planning and project oversight is Morris and Stevens. Labor agreement and bargaining is now Petty and Mary. You want to stay on that?
Yeah.
Are there anybody else is interested in that? Norwich University, still Maxwell and Stevens. Anybody interested?
I would like to remain on that.
All right. Stephen, John?
Yes.
So it stays as in the past. Policy review, Morris and Stevens. Anybody, you want that? Mary?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So,
I'll do what who's gonna jump off of policy review, and so I'm on there.
Morris is.
Morris is jumping off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Public safety and oversight planning, does anybody want to be on that? Currently, it's Petty and Shernock. Hearing none, it stays the same. Town buildings is energy, board members Shernock and Stevens. Is there any interest in changing that? Hearing none, will remain the same. Water, wastewater, and utility commission is Stevens. Anybody else want to be that? Electric utility commission is Morse. Anybody else want to be on that? Mountain Alliance representative and alternative is Petty and Schultz. Y'all good with that?
yeah, I've never had to do anything, so.
Well, I
Jeff
think
will tell me when.
yeah, they've been a little lax down in Randolph, so I think we should be good. But we should call a meeting.
That's the representative alternative is Fitzhugh and Schultz, and Steve is not here. We're all
Yeah,
good with it.
he expressed an interest in continuing.
All right.
As an aside, he is the chair.
So do we need to have a motion to accept the changes to the subcommittees?
Yeah, I would think so.
So just review it one more time. Who's gonna be, who is labor agreement and bargaining?
Petty and Shernock?
Got it. Did the highway change as well, like?
Highway change from Shernock, I replaced Shernock.
Okay, that's what I had, that's what I checked.
And policy review is now Shernock and Stevens. The SS is in charge of.
I make a motion to approve the subcommittee votes, to approve the subcommittee assignments as discussed.
Second.
You've got a motion that's been seconded to approve the subcommittees as with the changes. All in favor, say aye. Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, subcommittee's been reassigned. And then we have regular meeting schedule, as you see in front of you. We have the regular meetings. December 23rd has been crossed off. November 10th has a pound sign next to it. The select board will meet Monday, November 10th due to Veterans Day holiday. Have a motion to approve the proposed calendar, knowing that we could change it throughout the year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded for the town select board regular meeting session to continue as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, the calendar is set for the next year. And then we get down to designation of official newspapers and websites.
Yeah, so last year it was the Northfield News and Times Argus, and then for websites, obviously, town website and Front Porch Forum. And kind of, we've been putting those on the Facebook, or no, just,
It's not a regular thing, sometimes.
okay, yeah, so the regular thing is the Front Porch, in terms of websites, the town website and Front Porch Forum.
Town website, Times Argus, Newport News, Newport News, Northfield News.
It was a Friday
Comes
slip.
out monthly now.
But apparently we're using that as an official, well, I recognize that, but that's also an official newspaper, Jeff? The Northfield News? Okay. All in favor of the official newspapers, say aye.
Aye.
I did that without a motion.
You did, but we won't.
I'm stunned. Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none. We have the official newspapers. Do we need to adjust the agenda?
No need to adjust.
All right, public participation. Joe Wontok, Northfield Energy Committee, Thermal Energy Networks has presented us with a package of paperwork associated with this project. Take it away, Joe.
Many handouts, yes. Well, as most of you know now, my name is Joe Wontuck. I'm Chair of the Energy Committee. I live on Pleasant Street. I work for an engineering company out of Montpelier, VHB, doing land surveying. And other members of the committee who are present, Pat, Meehan, Gail, you know these folks. Also, Sheila and Chandler, who are here on the web. So yeah, we've been working on this project for about a year now, and we're really excited about it. And we have some ideas that we think we can advise you about. So yeah, we're here to talk about thermal energy networks, or TENS, as we'll refer them to you. Also, Jeff, Lydia, Mary, and Charlie, you've already been kicked off with this concept, so you know about these ideas, so bear with me. But David and John, this is sort of your first glance looking into these topics, so I'm gonna do a quick overview of what it is. So we believe that this technology has the ability to support our town goals in housing, energy, and economic development, but also a greater vision of our town that is more sustainable and resilient. And we believe we can do all of this without raising taxes. So that's the big ticket item. Including thermal energy networks into our town can bring many benefits, including making our energy bills more affordable, reducing electric grid peaks, which I'll talk about later, and bringing safe, clean thermal energy into our homes. So if you want to go to the sheet that is the basics, and also there's more handouts over there for anyone who wants to follow along. A TEN is a network that moves heat through the ground in a closed loop in a series of water-filled pipes. Individual homes or businesses have heat pumps that draw or place heat into the system, which provides high efficiency heating and cooling to their building. You may already know how a geothermal system works for an individual home. When you turn on the heat, the ground source heat pump inside your house compresses the warmth drawn from underground, delivering it to your home as heat. When you need cooling, the process reverses. The same heat pump delivers cool air and extracts heating it, returning it to the earth. All that heating and cooling comes from underground where the earth is a constant temperature. This isn't, Iceland, sucking heat from a volcano. This is just underneath our feet. The ground is a constant 50 degrees. Water-filled pipes bring that temperature to your heat pump in your house or in your business, where it's concentrated into hot or cold air to keep you comfortable in winter or summer. And we talked about last time about what's in the pipe, and I confirmed it's about 75% water and 25% glycol, and the glycol is food grade, and I looked up groundwater contamination, and if it enters groundwater, it breaks down into non-toxic components. That's the research that I did, because I know last time we were here, we mentioned glycol. So the system is safe, and leaks are very uncommon because it is underground, but if it does leak, it's not hazardous. So that's just a general heat pump. The networked system uses water-filled pipes in closed loops underground to heat and cool buildings in a neighborhood or town center. So that same system that's working for one building is connected to multiple buildings. The pipes are installed at the same depth as gas or water pipes and are connected to individual ground source heat pumps. Thermal energy can be drawn out of the earth, yada yada. Okay. They can also capture existing waste heat from building ventilation or wastewater systems. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. Where might we have excess heat in our town? It's a question.
Me, I know.
Go ahead, Mary.
I was at the thing,
Yeah,
so I know, it's at the bakery.
yeah. So that's one. So in the bakery, you have these ovens, and the way Justin does it is he puts the bread in the oven and he uses propane and he vents it through the oven. It's constant hot air going through the oven and it vents right straight out the back of the building. So it's this constant just like blowing hot air out. So what you could do is you can take water pipes, place it where that venting is happening, capture that heat, and then distribute it into the system. And the more, in the wintertime, the warmer the pipe is going to the building, the more efficient the system gets. Okay, so the more cost savings to the customers, the less electricity you're using, the less greenhouse gases you're emitting. The more neighborhoods and multi-use buildings that are linked to the system, the more affordable and efficient it gets. So these systems, these ground source heat pumps, they can be 300% efficient. So that means you take 3 units, you take
1 unit of electricity can create 3 units of heat, as compared to a resistance heater where 1 unit of electricity creates 1 unit of heat. You instead use that electricity to run a compressor, which compresses that heat into something that you can use, and so it's 300% efficient as compared to like your regular old hot water heater or a baseboard on the wall or something.
And this is what's really important, and going back to the electrical capacity of the grid question that we mentioned last time we were here, that's really important in keeping those peaks low. So in the summertime, when it's really hot, people are cranking the AC and everyone's using a lot of electricity. Same thing in the winter, people are, turning up their heat. But because of the efficiency of the system, it uses less electricity to heat, you're actually keeping those peaks lower. Mm-hmm. So the grid can handle the load. So this is actually really important for that whole concept. So let's, the next document I'll kind of be glossing over is the thermal energy network highlights. So I'm just gonna kind of touch on a few of these. We have local heat that we can move and share in our community using proven technology. We can keep costs low. It says unprecedented federal funding can leverage as grants, you know, a lot of that is changing. So we're actively monitoring that, and we've been looking up funding for this. Reusing local heat can be an economic driver. Development aligns with community revitalization, which is what we're looking into in the Common and the Path projects. You know, we can build local thermal energy networks incrementally. So this is getting on this concept that how we want to implement this is it's not all just a big ticket item. It's not just one bill. Like, we need to upgrade all this infrastructure in our town. This is gonna be a very slow burn process. Lay a pipe here, you know, put a well here, you know, that's sort of the concept that we're approaching. Get back to my other page here. So why would a 10 be great to Northfield? We have a relatively dense housing area in our village. There's a desire for new housing. So new housing is the best time to implement these systems because you're starting brand new. For instance, the new apartment building going in next to Dollar General, that is an ideal time to get a ground source heat pump set up for that particular building that can plug into, you know, a greater system later. It can be a keystone for economic development because it can be an incentive to developers. Say, oh, there's a thermal on this street. Oh, that's great. I want to tie into that. There's a lot of sources of excess heat. So we talked about the bakery. We talked about the ice rink at Norwich. There's existing infrastructure like water and sewer lines that need to be, you know, maintained and fixed. Also, the sewer line itself is something that you can draw heat off of. So there's a document, I'm not gonna go over the document, but it's called Moving Heat Using Waste Heat. So I wanted to quickly segue to the wastewater treatment plant system. Energy Committee toured the system. It's really great. Have you all toured that facility?
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I understand that we are looking into doing upgrades to that facility. So you can walk down to the basement and there's the two oil tanks there. And that's what heats the building. Well, you can actually just connect a heat pump to the sewage. Basically, if the sewage is a constant temperature running into that facility, and you can use a heat pump to heat and cool that building.
Wow.
Using the sewage.
Yeah.
So that would be something that would be really good to look into, to reduce the fuel being burned there. Especially if we're gonna do upgrades there. So there's already geothermal systems in Vermont and in the world. One of them is the case study that I handed out to you. This is a case study that's most similar to Northfield that I've seen. It's in Iowa, and they basically had a courthouse there that they were tearing up the lawn, and they were either building the new courthouse or upgrading the block, kind of like the Common, right? And they wanted to do a geothermal system, heating and cooling system for the courthouse. Well, the neighbors around there said, oh, geothermal, oh, can I get in on that system? And they said, well, let me think about that. Yeah, you can. And then they started this initiative, and all of these businesses around that whole block wanted in on this heating and cooling system, and it was a success. And then other developers wanted to come in and attach to that system, and it really helped revitalize the town. And again, it was an existing project that they added this component onto. It wasn't just, let's build a thermal energy network. It was all these other things going on that really spurred the idea. Let's see here. So yeah, what would ownership look like? I don't think we need to get all nervous that we need to jump right into it becoming a municipality. I think, in the beginning stages, it would be privately owned. Or if the town owned a pipe, then the town could lease the pipe to a co-op or something. So, when we're starting to think about the system and think like, municipality, or, it's too big, we have to think really small here and then grow from there. And then maybe eventually, as things get more interconnected, it could become a municipality. So why should Northfield do this? So we should do this for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it can create opportunities for housing and economic development, like I mentioned. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions, which to accomplish town and state goals. I could talk about all the doom surrounding that concept. I'll spare you all of the doom, but it is very nervous for me. It pairs well with renewable energy, creating energy in our town and heating using the earth beneath our feet, rather than importing things from outside of Vermont that we're buying. We're using Vermont dollars, purchasing things outside Vermont when we could be keeping those dollars in. So what are we asking? What is Northfield really asking? And what is Energy Committee asking you folks? So we're advising you on this topic in general, but we're also we're looking for guidance around it as well. We think that this concept should be part of the town plan. We think that it should be thought about in all projects, municipal projects, considered. And Northfield Energy Committee can be part of that plan. We can be, and we're already looking into funding. I have a document, I didn't make a bunch of copies of it. But it is our most excellent member, Sheila. She put together this. I'll hand it to the new chair first. These are all funding opportunities that we're looking into, and some of them we missed, and some of them are due at the end of the month, and some of them are moving. But there's up to $1 million that we can potentially get for our town for funding one of these. Another thing is it's a IRA funding for the trench work. So that's Inflation Reduction Act. Again, I don't know the status of that act, but I was talking about it with some of the other people we've been working on with this project, and that's let's talk about the Waterline project. The Waterline project is we're late. We're too late, but it's the perfect project to lay pipe, because you're already digging up. These pipes go in the same trenches as the water and sewer pipe. So when you're digging those up, that's a good time to put these pipes in the ground. Now this federal funding is if you have a municipal project that includes an energy component, you can get 40% off of your trench work for that project. So you're actually getting you're actually helping to pay for your other municipal project just by adding in an energy component to it. So that can be huge. That can be huge for our town trying to match our budgets and achieve our other goals also, just by adding this energy component in. And yeah, and I wanted to go back to the tax component. I mean, we're not trying to raise taxes, you know, we're not trying to have this be, you know, how we imagine it is this would just replace your electric bill. So that is how eventually it would get funded. It would get funded by your utility payments rather than by taxes. And you folks know more about that than I do, but that is sort of the ideas that have been presented to me. Does my other members have anything they'd like to add to my presentation?
I think you mean it would replace your like fuel oil or your propane bill, right? Because you
Right.
still have an electric bill that you would
Right.
use for your heat pumps. Your electric bill would go up a little bit, but it would overall decrease the amount that a resident who is tied into the system would have to pay to heat and cool their home, as opposed to just using a regular air conditioner or using, you know, a propane furnace or something. The idea is that the grant funding would offset whatever, if the town decides to go in on this, the grant funding would offset the capital cost of it, and the town could structure the investment in such a way that the revenue the town collected, if they chose to run the utility, would be,
What happened to the girlfriend?
She's downstairs working.
Online, you're not muted.
Hey, Gerard, you're on, you're not muted, Gerard.
On a manual.
I might be able to mute.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
probably manually do it. Thanks, Joe.
Can I just, oh,
I think
mute,
it's from, yeah.
muted Gerard. Okay. So yeah, there's a handout here specifically geared towards municipalities, and the tags down here on the bottom are the partners that we've been working with and learning about this concept, who have been providing us with lots of knowledge and free technical, well, not exactly technical, but free assistance on the topics. I mean, Jared from Community Decarbonization Partners has been just willing to answer emails and call, and we're also going to visit the, La Panciata Bakery again to look at that system, to talk about reusing that heat in the facility.
Sure. So I think that an important aspect of this is that when you as a board are thinking about projects and prioritizing projects that are going to happen in Northfield, we would really like to sort of be in that loop, because we can help advise and at least provide options for what might be included to help minimize costs as those projects begin to develop. So we see ourselves as an advisory group to the work that you all are trying to do for the town.
For instance, the funding that I handed out, that sheet, there's some due at the end of March, and they will probably like to know some project specifics, and we can't jump on those project specifics unless we know exactly what the project is and how we can integrate the thermal energy network into it. So I know that's a lot to mull over. We're not expecting all the answers tonight, but we wanted to formally present this at a select board meeting so we can start incorporating these concepts, or we can hope to incorporate these concepts into our town.
Thank you.
To the board, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I was really taken with the idea that we could do something almost right away with our wastewater system. And so I wanted to know, when are we doing the upgrade on our wastewater system?
Yeah, so as you recall, there was a report that was done and the board had received that. And within the next 5 years, there's just some minor adjustments that need to be done to the facility. But the major upgrades, as we see it, and a lot of it will depend on what the state says in a new permit,
When is the new permit?
Well, the state's a little bogged down.
Yeah.
They indicated that they want to do an interim permit, pay $3,000 just for an interim permit. The next one will probably be in a year and a half, 2 years, and that permit will list all of the required upgrades. But again, based on that report, we're seeing that most of the significant upgrades will come in probably 8 to 10, 12 years.
Okay.
But, you know, we can
The other
have
que-
this,
The other question I
specific-
had is, the existing heat system isn't gonna last forever. Yeah,
Existing what system?
heat system that they have, it isn't gonna last forever. So
yeah, so.
what's the story on that?
Yeah, so we are starting the budget process. I think it might be good for you folks to come to the utility commission and speak with those folks about your ideas and the concept of starting with the municipal sewer plant. And yeah, we can look at the concept of working towards a heat pump.
Well, it's just so attractive, the idea that the heat is coming in there now, and we're letting it go.
What-
That the heat that they need in that building is already coming in the form of raw sewage, and we're letting it go. It's like, wow, that's dumb.
Well, again, I think maybe the
Science
next,
wasn't there back then.
No,
Right.
no, but
maybe in the
I
next
hear it
couple
now.
of, maybe the next 2 or 3 utility commission meetings, we'll have you come.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
And
I
again,
think-
at the timing.
I think that's their next stop. They have got to go there.
Yeah,
Because those projects don't start with this board. Those projects start with those
It would be
commissions.
good to know, you know, how much fuel they use at that facility, you know, and they would have that
Oh,
answer.
we have it.
yeah,
We
yeah.
have that answer.
Could
And-
generate that very quickly.
And you could come up with numbers, you know, of how much it costs them a year to heat that and cool that facility, you know, I imagine, is there AC there? No.
Is there AC there?
Yeah.
No,
The
probably
other thing to
not.
consider too in this, I know I'm kind of interjecting, is, you know, as it gets warmer and warmer in our community, I mean, that's one of the big reason why I'm here, because I want to build systems that are good for our kids too, you know?
Yeah,
As it gets warmer and warmer, you know, these systems provide heating and cooling and are highly efficient. I mean, in 100 years, Vermont could be 10 degrees warmer than it is now. And that means, you know, it'll be 95, you know, all summer. You know, so these systems improve the resilience of our town. You know, we're gonna need these systems in the future when it's that hot. So looking into building them now is a really good idea.
I mean, the other thing to consider too is like, with the drive to get people off of fossil fuels and onto electricity is going to stress the grid that we have already. So the more efficiently we can use the electricity, the better, because you can't just take everybody that's on fuel oil and propane right now, switch them to resistance heaters and window air conditioners and think that Northfield Electric can handle it, because they won't be able to handle it. Like, there's not enough electricity. So if you have a heat pump that's accessing the ground as its source instead of 100-degree air or a -10-degree air, it's getting more heating or cooling out of that unit of electricity than how we currently use it, which on a big scale is going to be really important to the utility, which is another reason we should talk to the utility commission. I know they're putting in batteries at Jackson, I think. I got a net metering permit denied because there's not enough capacity at the substation to receive solar energy in the summer now from individual people, so like, the grid is already stressed.
That's why.
You get
Yeah.
net metering, let's, I'm sorry, we're losing focus. Mary, hold on a second, Pat, are you done?
I'm done.
All right, John, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, how big a pipe are you talking about?
It's like an 8-inch to 10-inch pipe, and it's 2 of them, right? Because it's a loop.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I don't know exactly the pipe. We have mentors that can help, but what they told me is it's 8-inch to 10-inch pipe is the main line, and then maybe the pipes going into the buildings are smaller. I assume they're smaller.
Yes.
And then that's, you know, it's going one way, and then it'll go into the house and go down, and then it'll go, it'll go into the ground maybe, there'll be a well field, and then it'll keep going down the main line and go back into a house or building, pick up some heat over here, so.
Okay, well, I'm just curious about the putting it with the water line and the sewer line.
Yep.
And I'm wondering how big it is that you have to have.
Yeah,
Denny, Lydia,
Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for putting on that workshop that some of us attended. That was really great, and I'm excited to see what comes next. Talking to the utility commission, and now, I mean, the seed is planted in all of our minds to be thinking, we have to think far ahead. And please come back to us if you have private folks that are thinking about doing something, just to keep us abreast of what you're up to.
Okay.
Thanks.
so, am I all set, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
So definitely go to the utility commissions, 100%, do that first. Contact our economic development director.
we spoke
who's
with
very-
them.
You did?
Yeah.
Very familiar with
Yep.
available grants